Romance of Sui in Tang Dynasties Chapter 16.
We follow Qin Shubao as he heads towards Chang'an, because his pretty low-ranking official job runs headfirst into this suddenly massive reputation he didn't even know he had.
Exactly. And to really get it, we have to start with this core idea, this philosophy from the source text. It's a maxim that basically dictates how everyone, especially the powerful people, act in this story. It goes, "Insak mi for," which, roughly translates to, the person who gives a favor should never expect anything back.
Okay.
But the person who receives the favor, they must never forget the one who helped them.
That feels crucial, because the whole story we're about to dig into really hinges on the receiver, who happens to be Li Yuan, the Duke of Tang, the guy who eventually founds the Tang Dynasty. He's the one acting on this debt of gratitude. It's like the ultimate political IOU.
It totally is. So the scene starts with Qin Shubao and his three companions, Wang Godang, Qi Guoyuan, and Li Rigui. They're approaching this temple complex, and it's clearly just been renovated. Big time. And right away they notice some pretty high-status people are involved.
Yeah, they spot this official overseeing the work. The source calls him the purple-clad youth under the yellow umbrella. I mean, that description says it all, right? Purple clothes, high rank, yellow umbrella. That's like an official delegation, maybe even imperial ties. This guy is Chai Xiao, and he's Li Yuan's son-in-law, the Jumnan County Prince Consort. So top tier.
Right. So immediately they're in the orbit of serious aristocracy. And the temple itself, it's being rebuilt by Li Yuan of Taiwan, the Duke himself. And the reason for this massive project, well, according to the source, it's surprisingly personal, almost mundane in a way.
It seems almost like a spiritual PR move. Is that fair? Apparently, Li Yuan's wife, Du Furen, gave birth to their second son right there on the temple grounds back in the Ren Shou year. Yeah. And Li Yuan got worried that he'd somehow contaminate the sacred ground. So his fix is rebuild the entire place.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a tone, but it's also a massive flex, right? Showing off his wealth, his piety, his virtue.
Sure.
But the real point of interest for Qin Shubao and his group, the place they head towards, is this newly built side building, the Bode Shrine, the Hall of Repaying Virtue. And when they go inside, boom, they're face-to-face with this physical monument to Li Yuan's gratitude.
And this is where the source gets incredibly specific. It's not like an altar to a god or some famous ancestor. No, it's a statue of a standing figure. Yeah. And he's clearly dressed like a traveler or maybe a low-ranking soldier.
And Li Yuan was apparently obsessed with getting the details right. The statue wears the specific powder blue felt cap from Fan Yang, a heavy black cloth gown, but then over that, a yellow military jacket. Got the leather belt, the plaque and knife, and these very specific accessories, and crucially, yellow deerskin boots.
Okay, wait, why the deerskin boots? Why specify that, it feels like? Like Li Yuan is making a point. He's not just honoring a soldier. He's honoring this specific guy, maybe emphasizing how humble he looked.
I think so. It makes the honor feel more personal, more specific. If it was just a generic statue, maybe it wouldn't land the same way. By getting the boots right, the traveling gear, he's basically shouting, I remember exactly who saved me, and this is what he looked like. It really maximizes the impact.
That makes sense.
But the real kicker, the absolute stunner, it's the plaque next to the statue. 6 gold characters.
Benefactor Qiong Wu, living position. Okay, let's pause on living position Sheng Wei. That's huge, isn't it? Shrines are for gods, ancestors, the dead, usually, to set up a living position for some guy, a commoner. It means Li Yuan is publicly honoring a living person, almost like a deity. That feels radical.
Totally radical. And that's the moment Qin Shubao clicks. He realizes this statue, this living position, it's for him. It flashes back to that time at Lintang Mountain when he fought off those so-called fake bandits and saved Li Yuan's life all the way back in that Ren Shou year.
So if it's him, Qin Shubao, why does the black say Qiong Wu?
Not Qin Qiong. Well, that's the beautiful, almost comical twist in all this. See, after Qin Shubao saved Li Yuan, he basically bolted. Didn't want thanks, didn't want to hang around. Li Yuan chased after him, shouting for his name. Qin Shubao yelled back, Qin Qiong, but he was also kind of waving him off, like, don't bother. So in all the commotion and haste, Li Yuan heard the Qin surname right, but he must have misheard or maybe just hastily wrote down the given name as Qiong Wu.
No way. So this massive, public, golden-lettered monument to gratitude built by the future emperor is based on a clerical error made years ago because the hero was trying to escape. That's incredible.
Isn't it just? And his friends start putting it together. Qi Guiwan's totally clueless, but Wang Bodang, he remembers the outfit. He's like, wait a minute, that's exactly what Qin Shubao wore on that trip. And then he gets it. And the final proof is right there, flanking the statue, figures leading a yellow-spotted horse, and others holding these guffet-clad maces. Qin Shubao's signature gear, it's all documented.
Wow. Think about what's going through Qin Shubao's head, though. The source says he feels this mix of, sorrow and amusement. He actually wonders if maybe this whole incident, rushing away from being thanked, is why he ended up so broke later in Luzhu. Like cosmic irony. And he questions if a commoner, a boogie he calls himself, even deserves this kind of official public honor. He suddenly feels the weight of this unexpected debt Li Yuan has just dropped on him.
Yeah, and that weight immediately turns into, well, an opportunity or maybe an obligation for others. Chai Shao, the son-in-law, hears the buzz, figures out who Qin Shubao is, and rushes over. He confirms it, bows super low, and basically insists they stay. Lavish feasts, the whole 9 yards. Li Yuan's debt is now Chai Shao's problem to manage.
Right, immediate 5-star treatment. But here's the rub. Despite all the feasting and sudden VIP status, Qin Shubao still has his original job to do, his humble errand. He tells Chai Shao, look, thanks for everything, but we gotta go now. They have to get to Chang'an. They're carrying a Shouo Elaine, a birthday tribute for someone named Yang Ye, and it needs to get to the Yufu.
We should probably highlight that destination. The Yufu isn't just some random place, it's the residence of the Duke of Yu, a major player in the Sui court. So Qin Shubao isn't just, dropping off a cake. This is an official delivery. And it's time sensitive. He has to be there before the 15th for the Lantern Festival.
Okay, so you've got this guy who is simultaneously a living legend, being honored in a shrine, and also basically a delivery guy on a deadline. Which identity wins out? Which obligation takes priority?
Duty. It seems duty wins, at least for Qin Shubao. But Chai Shao, he kind of panics, but strategically. He knows his father-in-law Li Yuan is back in Taiwan writing this urgent letter asking to finally meet the benefactor. If Qin Shubao just takes off now to deliver this tribute, he might just vanish again. Chai Shao cannot let that happen. It would be a huge loss of face and, frankly, a political fumble.
Right. He needs to keep tabs on Qin Shubao, but can't exactly chain him to the temple. He needs a clever excuse. Can't just say, hey, stick around. My powerful father-in-law wants to see you.
Exactly. Yeah. So Chai Shao comes up with this honestly pretty brilliant move disguised as just a fun trip. He says, hey, why don't I come with you guys to Chang'an, see the lanterns, right? But his real goal, obviously, is to stick to Qin Shubao like glue and make sure he can bring him back to the temple to meet Li Yuan when the letter arrives. It's basically high-stakes babysitting.
Huh. Okay. And the journey itself really shows the shift in status, doesn't it? It's not just the 4 buddies anymore. Now it's 5 important guys, including Chai Shao, riding 7 horses, plus 22 followers carrying baggage and stuff. It's a proper procession heading down that 60-line road.
Yeah, and the source even gives us this little poetic moment, describing the spring scenery, willow containing golden millet sweeping the saddle, grass-spitting green shoots charming the distant banks.
Yeah.
Even amidst all this political maneuvering and drama, the world just keeps turning. Spring is coming.
Nice touch. So they travel, but because they started late, they get near Chang'an as it's getting dark. And Qin Shubao, still laser-focused on his actual mission, makes a smart call. He decides to avoid the city itself, entering the capital during a huge festival. Chaos, crowds, potential trouble. Better to stay outside.
So they stop just outside the Mingda Gate at this place called the Tao Family Inn. And Qin Shubao immediately starts setting up his plan for, a stealth delivery. He arranges this big feast for everyone. Chai Shao, his companions, gets them all comfortable, fed, probably drinking, setting them up for a long night's sleep.
Because his real duty, the official one, needs doing under the radar. He has to deliver this tribute without this whole new entourage knowing, especially Chai Shao, so he quietly asks the innkeeper for a guide, someone who knows the way to the Yufu, which is near that gate.
Right, and the innkeeper finds him 2 guys. An old servant named Tao Rong, who knows the local streets and, importantly, the proper etiquette for delivering fancy gifts, and his brother, Tao Hua, basically just to help carry everything.
And Qin Shubao divides the gifts into 4 felt bags. Practical pays the brothers a couple strings of cash. And then, the key move. Before dawn, while everyone else, including the watchful Chai Shao, is fast asleep, he just slips out. Gone.
The irony is just so thick, isn't it? After days of being hailed as this great hero, immortalized in a statue by the future imperial family, Qin Shi Bao's first instinct is to sneak away in the dark to complete this small, discreet, low-status delivery job, the duty he had before all the recognition. That's still paramount for him.
It's an amazing snapshot, that collision of honor and duty. You've got Li Yuan, the future emperor, building this massive public shrine, obsessing over the details of Qin Shi Bao's commoner clothes, all for one single rescue. And that public debt instantly elevates Qin Shi Bao as high-ranking officials practically stalking him. Yet he still feels the pull of his original humble task so strongly he has to sneak out to do it.
So let's start there with the Duke. Just how powerful was this guy?
Okay.
Let's get into this. The sources say the Duke of Yu had great favor, long Chong, massive favor. And when the Chen dynasty fell, the rival dynasty, he gets this trophy, just scream status, 100 concubines and female officials straight from the defeated Chen palace.
Yeah, I mean, that's not just rich. That's raw political muscle on display. It represents the total conquest of the South, sure, but it also tells you about the Duke himself. But the sources actually call him a Jiangxun, a crafty hero. Maybe complex hero is a better way to put it.
Crafty implies a certain edge.
Definitely an edge.
Yeah.
His life was apparently spectacular, indulgent, and yeah, having 100 women from a fallen royal house, that's the ultimate flex, right?
But power like that, it attracts whispers, doesn't it? Even if they're careful whispers. And that happens at a banquet he throws for his staff. His advisor, this Li Xuansui, he says something incredibly bold, basically saying the Duke is only lacking Laozi's elixir.
Wow. That's walking a tightrope, politically speaking. Referencing Laozi's elixir of immortality wasn't a compliment. It was a coded warning.
Ah, so he's saying...
He's pointing out that all this indulgence, the huge household, the luxuriettes, draining his energy, inviting trouble, basically saying, you're burning the candle at both ends, Duke. You won't get to enjoy this forever.
Okay, wait. So a chief minister, this powerful, gets basically called out, even if it's veiled, and he doesn't just get rid of the advisor.
No, that's what's interesting.
Seems less like virtue and more like calculation. Is he playing a game here?
Oh, absolutely. The Duke just says, I have my own way of dealing with this. He seems to get the point. This huge group of captive women is now maybe a liability, politically, logistically. So he responds with this incredibly calculated move. It's designed to force a very public display of loyalty, or, the opposite.
And the move itself is just wild. The next day, he gathers all 100 women, tells them, stand left if you want to leave, find a husband. Stand right if you want to stay here with me.
Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary for a man of his stature to potentially give up such a visible symbol of his power and conquest. The source has that lovely line, like opening a cage to release birds. You really feel the sense of captivity these women might have felt.
So the results, did they mostly bolt for the door?
The majority did, yeah, nearly half. Something like 40 or 50 women knelt on the left almost immediately, choosing freedom, the uncertainty of it, maybe a simple life with one husband, over staying in this gilded cage.
Earthen windows and rope hinges, the source calls that simpler life. It's quite poetic.
It really is. They want it out.
But the real insight maybe comes from the ones who didn't leave, the loyal few.
Exactly. We're told only 2 women stayed. 2 beautiful women. One was the Liqing princess. She's weeping, holding a sword, and the other is Zhang Chuchen. She's holding a whisk, and the text calls her a strange woman of chivalry, intelligent and beautiful.
Okay, Liqing princess weeping with a sword. That sounds like a story in itself.
It is. She used that moment to bring up the famous broken mirror story with her former husband, Xu Deyan. For anyone listening who doesn't know it, Po Cheng Chang Yuan, it's a classic Chinese tale about separation during wartime and the hope of eventually reuniting, finding the other half of the mirror.
So she's signaling deep personal grief, loyalty to her past, choosing fidelity, essentially.
Precisely. It wasn't really about loyalty to the Duke, but loyalty to her own past and husband.
And Zhang Chuchen, the strange woman of chivalry, she's the really fascinating one here. Why did she stay?
She stayed, but her reasoning. It wasn't emotional loyalty, not like the princess. No. When asked, she says something like, the Duke's deep kindness made this place home. But then she gets practical. She basically says she refuses to swap her current luxury for potential poverty, those earthen windows and rope hinges.
Wow. So she chose the gilded cage consciously.
Exactly. She valued the comfort, the security, the wealth she had over some theoretical freedom that might just mean hardship. Super pragmatic. Shows a sharp mind, really.
And the Duke's reaction to all this?
He was apparently pleased, felt refreshed, the text says. Cleared the air, maybe?
He let the 50 or so who left keep their personal savings and clothes.
Yep. And he promoted the two who stayed Leching Princess and Zhang Chuchen to be female officials, put them in charge of the remaining women.
A very neat, very calculated end to a pretty grand and kind of risky social test.
Right. Now, let's jump forward a bit. Scene change. We're moving from that internal political test to, well, a moment that feels like fate intervening. It's the 15th day of the first lunar month. That's the Lantern Festival. Big holiday. And it just happens to also be the Duke of Yu's birthday.
Okay, so double celebration. The place must have been buzzing. Lantern Festival is already huge, vibrant. At a top minister's birthday bash, the residence would be absolutely packed, officials everywhere, gifts piling up.
Total chaos. But the perfect kind of chaos for a chance encounter, maybe? Or a fated one. So first on the scene, we have Li Jing. He's from San Yuan. He's not there just to drop off a gift and pay respects. He has an agenda.
Oh, what's he after?
He's waiting in a side room, hoping to get an audience to present a memorial, basically a proposal, and offer strange strategies to the Duke.
Yeah.
He wants to impress the big man.
Okay, ambitious guy. And then comes the warrior.
And then comes Qiong. He's from Lichang. And the sources give us this really vivid description. Tiger back and bare waist. Extraordinary appearance.
You immediately picture someone formidable. A fighter.
Definitely. Destined for greatness, you feel. And what's great is they spot each other. Li Jing greets him first. They exchange names. Li Jing, courtesy name Yaoxi. Qin Xiong, courtesy name Xu Bao. And boom, instant recognition.
They knew of each other already?
Seems so. By reputation. There's this immediate mutual admiration. It's not just two random guys meeting. It's like magnets pulling together. Two figures already known, converging.
And Li Jing, the strategist, he's clearly thinking fast. He gets called in to see the Duke.
Right. His audience is ready. But before he goes, he quickly pulls King Shum aside. He tells him where he's staying. Third house, Seeming Lane, right near the Duke's place.
Yeah.
And he says, basically, you have to come see me later. We need to talk. Something important.
You can almost feel the urgency in that. Like, forget the party, forget the politics for a second. This is really important.
Exactly. The political stage is set inside, but this personal, maybe even prophetic meeting is being arranged right there at the gate. So Li Jing gets his audience pretty quickly. Turns out he's a family nephew. His dad served with the Duke.
And then... But he doesn't just use it for pleasantries, does he?
Not at all. He goes straight for the political jugular. He basically admonishes the Duke. To his face.
Seriously, what does he say?
He tells him, look, the realm's heading towards chaos. Heroes are rising everywhere. You, Duke, should be focused on recruiting these talented people. And then he has the nerve to say the Duke should not sit arrogantly when meeting guests like him.
Wow. That takes some serious guts in that kind of court. Breathtaking.
It really is. But here's where you see the Duke's quality. Maybe that crafty hero aspect again. He wasn't angry. He was apparently delighted. Deeply impressed by Li Jing's boldness, his clear sight. He recognized real strategic talent.
Okay, that's impressive from both of them. But what's happening outside the audience chamber? You mentioned intrigue.
Right. Remember Zhang Chuchen? The whisk holder. The pragmatic one who stayed.
Yeah, the one who chose luxury over hardship.
As Li Jing leaves the Duke's presence, she is watching him closely. And then she asks a clerk nearby for specific details about Li Jing, his rank, where he's staying.
Ooh, okay, so she's not just passive. She's scouting.
Exactly. She's already shown she values talent and security. Now she's actively gathering intel on this impressive newcomer. It reinforces that she's sharp, an astute observer keeping tabs on potential future players, not just a pretty face.
Right. Meanwhile, Xinjiang, the warrior, he's just doing his duty, right? Delivering gifts from his region, Shandong.
Yep. And he gets a really warm welcome from Li Xuansui. Remember him? The advisor who made the elixir crack earlier.
Yeah. The risky comment guy.
Well, Li Xuansui seems to really rate Xingqiang. He ditches formal procedures, hosts him personally, quickly gets the official reply letter sorted, treats him with a lot of respect.
So Qin Xiong is clearly already seen as someone important, which makes what happens next even more significant.
Definitely. It brings us right to the prophecy. Qin Xiong finishes his business and hurries over to Ximing Lane, like Li Jing asked. Li Jing gets straight to it. First question, how old are you? Qin Xiong says 24. Then asks who he's with, any companions, establishing this is personal, specific.
Setting the stage for something serious.
And then Li Jing reveals his expertise. Feng Jane.
Okay, Feng Jian. We need to unpack that. It's more than just reading someone's palm, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's a complex art. It includes physiognomy reading features, face, body structure, but also fortune-telling, understanding destiny, even linking it to cosmology, the stars. Li Jing is about to use both personal signs and celestial omens for his warning.
Right. And the warning itself, it's incredibly detailed. What's the first part, the personal bit?
He focuses on Qin Sheng's face. He tells him his yin-tang is currently dominant.
The yin-tang, that's the spot between the eyebrows, right?
Exactly. In Chinese face reading, it's crucial. A hall of impression, seat of fate, fortune, life outlook. Very important spot. But Li Jing sees a problem. He sees black qi encroaching.
Black qi, that sounds bad.
Universally bad in this context. Hei qi, dark energy. It signals disaster, death, serious illness, major misfortune. So Li Jing predicts, specifically for Qin Qiong, a calamity of panic and fear. Something terrifying is coming directly for him.
Wow, okay, that's heavy. But then he goes bigger picture, uses the stars.
Yes. He says he was observing the heavens the night before. But remember, it was the Lantern Festival, 15th day of the first month. He specifies the time, the third watch. So deep in the night. And he saw a comet pass.
Comets are usually bad news in traditional astrology, aren't they?
Almost always. A major ill omen. And Li Jing interprets this comet as predicting a wider disaster. A calamity of weapons, fire, and robbery for everyone, the general population.
So personal danger and public chaos are converging right now.
Precisely. The timing is critical. The black key on Qin Qiong's face plus the comet means the threat is immediate. Lingering in the capital is dangerous.
What's the advice then for this guy who's destined for greatness but facing immediate peril?
Li Jing offers some hope first. He assures Qin Qiong, you will survive this. You will definitely become a pillar of the state later. The destiny is still there, but the urgent, life-saving advice now, get out. Don't stay for the festival fun. Don't delay. Head back to Shandong now.
And Qin Qiong's reaction, does he buy it?
Totally. He's utterly shaken. The source says his hair stood on end. He immediately thinks of his friend Qi Guiyuan, who's waiting back at their lodging.
Ah, he's not alone. He's got someone else to worry about.
Right. And that just adds to the urgency. He doesn't hesitate. He rushes off immediately, wants to escape their predicted chaos and get his friend out too. Scene change. Zhang Juchen, she's also called Zhang Myron. In the text, she's about to leverage state authority, a bit of political theater, and even a rigorous test to claim her man.
And that man is the aspiring hero, Li Jing.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's quickly set the scene. Who are the core players here? We've got Zhang Myron, this really discerning attendant in the powerful Duke of Yu's residence.
Yep. Then there's Li Jing, highly ambitious strategist, but he's not established yet, still kind of finding his way.
Okay, and then later, we get this unexpected arrival, Zhang Zhengzhen. He's better known to history as Qiu Rangong, right? The curly-beard guest.
That's him, a key figure.
So what set Zhang Juchen apart right from the get-go?
Well, it's her clarity, her vision. She sees all these powerful men coming and going through the Duke's residence.
Lots of options, presumably.
Right. But she singles out Li Jing. She pegs him as a young, handsome, true hero, and she's convinced his future achievements will match, maybe even surpass, the Duke himself.
So she's spotting potential, not just existing power.
Precisely. That's the key.
And crucially, she acts on this insight immediately. She decides Li Jing is her only true match. The text says she felt there is no other person in the world like him.
Yeah, so for her, that moment had to be seized. No waiting around.
But seizing it involved, well, an incredibly complex plan. Huge personal risk involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's unpack that escape plan. It's not just like climbing over a wall in the middle of the night.
Not at all. Far more sophisticated.
First, she seals her room, leaves all her belongings untouched, and she places this detailed written note like a formal tribute on her desk. Why bother with the paperwork if you're running for your life? Seems counterintuitive.
But that paperwork is brilliant. It's reputation management, essentially.
Okay.
By sealing the room and leaving that note, she stops anyone from accusing her of, say, stealing from the Duke or just running off for some illicit reason.
Ah, I see. So she's controlling the narrative.
Exactly. She shifts it from, oh, she's a thief and a seductress to, here's a strategic woman choosing her own future. It's like her first line of defense.
Clever. But then comes the real offensive move, the part that could get her killed.
Right. The tactical transformation.
She disguises herself flawlessly as an official, carries a lantern, looks the part, and then, the unforgivable step, she steals a military tally, a bingfu, from the inner quarters.
Yep. That's the linchpin.
This isn't just grabbing a souvenir. It's a literal state symbol of command. She's basically committing high treason for a personal goal.
Totally. The theft of that military tally is the entire fulcrum of her escape. It shows she's thinking politically, not just, romantically.
That tally represents the Duke's authority, his military power.
And she uses that authority instantly when patrol soldiers stop her just outside the residence.
Which must have been terrifying.
Absolutely. But she asserts she's the great master on urgent business for the military command, just like that.
Wow. So she doesn't just look the part, she actually weaponizes the state's respect for hierarchy.
Exactly. The soldiers, they see the official attire, they hear the confident tone, maybe glimpse the tally. They don't question it. They just salute and let her pass.
So that tally bought her freedom out of the residence.
It did. But more than that, it bought her the legitimacy she needed for Phase 2, testing Li Jing.
Right. So she's engineered the perfect exit. Now she has to engineer the perfect test for her chosen guy. She gets to his lodging, still in full official gear, and she puts that stolen military tally right there on his table. Can you imagine?
It's such a visual statement. Power, risk, all laid out.
And this initial facade, it's designed to gauge him, right? His ambition, his character under pressure.
Precisely. She says she's an internal official sent by the Duke, and she challenges Li Jing. Guess why the Duke sent me?
And his guesses are, well, they're logical, but wrong.
Right. First, he guesses maybe the Duke wants him as an advisor. She shoots that down, says the Duke already has 20 talented ones.
Okay. Then he guesses maybe a diplomat or traveling envoy.
Also rejected. She implies those roles are respectable, sure, but they're still positions of subservience, not what she's looking for.
Then comes the real curveball, the actual supposed proposal.
Yes. She switches gears and claims Qiong wants him to marry his beautiful, marriageable, adopted daughter.
Which is an incredible offer. Instant status, wealth, connections to the highest political circles.
It's the ultimate carrot. A shortcut to everything he probably wants.
And Li Jing's response.
Immediate, principled refusal. Declines instantly.
Really? Why?
He cites his wandering status, being rootless, his unfulfilled ambitions, and crucially, he talks about the social disparity. Their families aren't a match.
So social standing matters to him.
It does, but more importantly, he rejects the idea of leveraging a wife's status for his own gain. He basically says marriage has to wait until he achieves things on his own terms.
Okay, but wait. If she wants to marry him, why is she trying to push him away with this amazing offer, and then she immediately ups the stakes, right? Threatens him.
Because his refusal is exactly what she needs to see.
It's a test.
Yes. She's testing whether he's a true hero of principle or just another opportunist looking for an easy way out.
Right, someone who'd jump at the chance for power through marriage.
Exactly. The hero she needs must reject easy status, easy wealth, even easy marriage if it compromises his integrity or his personal ambition.
So his willingness to refuse the Duke's gift, even when she threatens his life.
She warned him, Qiong's anger is serious. He might not fly out of Chang'an, meaning he could be killed.
Wow.
His willingness to face that proves he isn't beholden to patronage. It's like a moral clearance check. She needed to see that defiance.
And Li Jing delivers. He calls the official annoying.
Yes.
And flat out says, my head can be cut off, but I absolutely would not agree. He's choosing death and principle over convenience.
That's the moment. That's when she knows for sure.
Yeah.
He's the one.
And just as that tension peaks, just as she realizes she's found her man, boom, the door bursts open.
Right. An unexpected guest arrives. A man dressed as an armed guard comes in, asking for Li Jing by his courtesy name, Brother Yaoshi.
And this is Zhang Zhangjin, the Qiong Gong.
That's him. And what's fascinating here is, remember how Zhang Chuchen's disguise fooled the patrol soldiers?
Yeah, completely.
Well, Zhang Jian apparently sees right through it. The text says he immediately recognizes her intentions, her Xingzang. He looks past the uniform and sees the strategic elopement happening underneath.
Wow. So much for the disguise.
Well, it served its purpose getting her there.
Oh.
But now the secret's out, at least to these two men.
So she drops the pretense, takes off the official hat and robe.
And confesses. Tells him she's a woman from the Yu residence, running away during the night. Chengi Lai Ben specifically to marry Li Jing.
How does Zhangjin react to all this drama?
He takes charge immediately. He recognizes this isn't ordinary. He calls them non-ordinary people making a legendary move.
Nice.
He gets wine, gets food, and basically facilitates this impromptu, totally unconventional wedding right there. They bowed to heaven together in Li Jing's simple lodging.
So a wedding witnessed by two future giants of the Tang dynasty. Pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, but here's a detail that always struck me as remarkable. Immediately after the marriage rites, she puts the official uniform and hat back on.
Right. Li Jing questions it, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're married now. The secret's out with Zhang Jian. Why the costume?
And her explanation is pure strategy. She says entering as an official was proper, but appearing as a woman now would be improper. Wutua.
Improper? Why?
Because the marriage itself is personal, but the escape has to remain political, official. By staying in uniform and still having that tally, she's not just a woman who eloped.
Ah, she's still carrying out an urgent official mission, at least outwardly.
Exactly. It's an essential tactical move to maintain control of their exit from the city. The text calls her a truly refined woman, Jingxinutsi, someone who gets that appearances are critical when you're, well, borrowing state tools.
Which leads directly to the masterstroke, the final piece of the plan.
While Li Jing and Zhang Jian are drinking wine, probably talking about saving the world,
Right, big hero talk.
she slips out. And she uses that military tally, the Bingfu, to procure 3 top-quality horses from the Central Military Hall.
Using the Duke's authority again.
Absolutely. The plan is to escape Shan and head to Taiwan, and having that commander seal guarantees they'll pass through every checkpoint, every city gate, no questions asked. Smooth exit.
Incredible foresight. Okay, let's jump to the aftermath. Morning comes.
Yep. The Duke of Yugong, discovers she's gone.
What does he find?
He finds her room sealed up tight. All her belongings are still there, untouched. And right on the desk is that critical letter she left, the final piece of her rhetoric.
Okay, tell us about the letter. It's written by Red Whisk attendant Zhang Chuchen.
Right. And it's basically her ultimate justification for everything. She uses these really elegant, powerful metaphors.
Like what?
She talks about her discerning eye, and this kind of wisdom eye that allowed her to spot the true hero in Li Jing. And she frames her choice not as, some scandalous affair, illicit behavior, but as a natural pairing. She compares herself to weak grass attaching to the orchid, tender vine relying on the bamboo.
So presenting it as destiny almost, a fitting match.
Exactly. She's reframing a potential scandal as the recognition of a great destiny in the making. It's brilliantly done.
So now we have to tackle that question we raised earlier. She stole the Duke's military tally, a massive symbol of authority. Why does Yugong just accept this? Isn't this a huge political liability? Treason, maybe. Shouldn't we be hunting them down?
That's where the narrative really validates her entire strategy.
Yeah.
Yugong accepts it, basically for a few reasons. First, Li Jing is recognized, perhaps even by the Duke eventually, as a genuine hero worthy of her high estimation.
So her judgment was sound.
Right. But maybe more importantly, Zhang Chuchen protected the Duke's honor throughout the whole process.
Oh.
Well, think about it. She had been a valuable attendant. She didn't steal any of his personal belongings. She didn't ruin his name by eloping in some messy, scandalous way.
Yeah.
And that letter explicitly stated she was seeking a hero worthy of association with his house, in a way.
Okay.
And that perfect administrative trail, she left the sealed room. The formal letter it gave the Duke plausible deniability.
Yeah.
It allowed him to essentially bury the awkwardness of the stolen tally and just accept the outcome as fate, or maybe even good judgment on her part rather than treating it as political defiance against him.
So her meticulous planning saved everyone's face, including the Duke's.
Precisely. It allowed him to just order the matter kept quiet.